how we can actually get third-party libraries, etc. If we don't have them already, and also we'll see about how to do that using Maven. So now, so Java archives are nothing but, say, for example, if I ask you to give me say 10 classes, you are giving me each file, and again you have to make sure that you give me in the proper folder structure, which means like the package that actually depict the packages and all, like which package a particular class in. So you have to give me the entire folder structure of the output folder wherever the class is compiled. So if you simply give me a class file, I will not be able to run it. And again, if I have multiple classes that are generated, that are created in multiple classes, then you have to give me all the classes. What if a project is big? So tomorrow we may be developing some applications that are thousands of classes big. So giving all the files as independent individual classes is actually not a good idea, right? So what you will do is you will make a
Whether your
jar.
screen is not shared.
I'm sorry, just you can see this, right? I'm on the same screen since I started this.
Yes, I can see it now.
Okay. Typically the jars are actually the uh, jars are like, say for example, how would you give me if there are thousands of files? You would simply make a zip file and give me all the class files for me to get it, right? Okay, you will not be able to give me individual files. Even if you give, that's not that easy to use and all. So what we can actually do is we can create a zip file. So jars are actually zip files only. If we create a zip file of a zip file and then rename that to a jar file, that simply works as a jar file. So they are just archives that are not mainly used for compression but for distribution. So there may be thousands of classes that are available that we may have to use by someone. Say for example, Kishore has written some Java utilities. If you want to use them, he doesn't really have to copy paste the code and give you the code. Okay, he can simply export that output files as jar files and give that to you, and that will be actually helpful for you guys. So you can quickly add that to your project dependencies and do it. Okay, so it's jar files actually simply a compressed version of the output files. That's it. So how can we create a jar file? Actually, we can create a jar file using a command called jar. If you have Java installed, you should be having this jar command also. And you can pass the argument CFE. The CFE are arguments, and the unscrambler.jar is actually the name of the output jar file that we want. And also, as I was telling, we can have thousands of classes, right? But again, there must be one class which can have an entry point. That means like which class should be run, which class should begin, where should we begin the execution of the program within that entire Java program. That is the entry point. So we have to give the entry point where the package structure should begin. I'm sorry, where the execution should begin in that entire list of class files, and then what are all the classes that are to be part of in that jar file. By doing this, a new file called as unscramble.jar will be created, and then when a jar file is created, if we want to run the jar file, we can use the command java hyphen jar and give the jar file name. And whatever file is given as an entry point, we will be able to simply run that file directly. Okay. In case if we skip the argument e in jar command, like if you remember earlier we are given CFE. Now if we gave CF, we don't have to give that which class is main class. but we still have to give what are the list of main classes. But again, when we are actually running the jar file, because we have not given any entry point, it doesn't know which class to run. So at the time of running, we have to give a command slightly different. Instead of giving hyphen jar and give the jar file name directly, we have to give hyphen cp, which indicates class path, and then we have to give which class to run. So generally we do this if the jar file can contain multiple main classes that can be run by the user at the time of his need. Okay. So this is how we can run a jar file. So first let me show and how we can actually do that. Let's say I have this hello world.java and hello world.class, and what is there in this hello world.java? It simply takes an even number and prints if it is even or odd. Now there is this hello world.class, and also we have command line args demo.java. And what does it have? It have whatever command line argument we pass, that will be taken simply printing along with hello. So let's say we have these two classes. Now to create a jar, the command that we have to use is jar and cfe. We have to give the name of the jar file, test.jar, and then we have to give the entry point. Entry point, it means we have to give the class name, not the class file name. So it only includes the hello world without the extension. Let's say we want hello world to be the class file, main file, entry point I mean. And then the list of classes, hello world dot class, and then command line arguments dot class. So we have to give the actual class files. Now when we press enter, a new file will be created over here. If you had observed, there is a new file, test.jar got created over here. And then to run it, java hyphen jar test.jar. So now when we run the program, it will be waiting for us to enter number. So when I enter number, it prints odd. So now if you see, if I give you this jar file, uh, now how can I do that in this? Let me do this. Okay, seems you cannot send a file within this GoToMeeting. So let me show you. I'll make you create it. And now because we have this jar file and it has an entry point, it will be running without mentioning which class to run. So now let us see. Let's copy this file and then let's rename this file to something like .zip. Now when we double click this file, that will be extracted, and if you see, it has two different files called as hello world.class and command line args.class, and it also has one folder and which is with a manifest file. So when I open this file, I will see something, some information over here. So it says main class is hello world. So it's simply keeping a record of which class to run, whatever we are giving where in that hyphen Java command. It is actually storing it. Now, if you see, jar is nothing but a zip file which is renamed to jar to actually indicate Java specific jar files that are created. Okay. Now, because we have already given the entry point, we have not given the entry point when we are executing. Now, assume that we have not given that. Now, how can we do that? Test.jar. Now, if you say command line args, it says it could not find. Okay, I think it is command line args demo. Okay, now what we got is if you see, we are able to execute that command line arguments demo. So we have to give some argument also. Now, hello Buddha. Now, if you remember, the command line args demo is taking a parameter, input parameter, and then it is actually uh, saving it. So just showing it on the screen. By the way, did I cover actually command line arguments?
Yes, Buddha.
Okay. So the command line arguments is something that we can simply pass when we are actually executing the command. And that command line arguments can be used in the program by using this parameter. So whatever command line arguments we pass, we will be passing them through this arg that will be passed to this program using this args parameter, and we can simply use that as an array, just like any other variable. So now, even though we have mentioned a specific entry point over here, we are able to execute other class file because we have not used the java-jar command. We have used java-cp command. Cp means class path. Okay, so if you know, can anyone do either of you know what is path in the system? Either Srinivas or Kishore.
To navigate where the files are present.
Uh, okay,
I may
no.
be wrong. I can
The,
see one option, build path.
no, not in terms of Java. In terms of regular Windows, what is path variable? If you remember, when we are installing Java, we are actually mentioning that in the path variable, right? Java home slash bin. Why? What exactly is that path variable? Any guesses? Okay. See, the path variable is see the path indicate the path is an address. Okay, if we say path, it is an address. But the path variable is a specific address that we are actually using to identify where our classes are. Okay. Let's say there is an executable file. Let me. Okay, in your Windows, what you can do is. Uh, just Can you click on the link and see if you're able to double click on that program, on that file, and if it is getting executed?
Uh, this is Dropbox and it's different thing, right, Buddha? I mean, I need to create the account.
No, no, you should be able to directly download when you click on the link.
No, it is asking me download and save directly to your Dropbox
Yeah,
by
click
creating a
download.
free account.
Click download.
No, 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 that option itself is not there.
Option itself is not there. No,
I mean,
if you see my screen, there are two options, right? One is download and save to my Dropbox.
1 minute. Okay, that one. Okay, let me try once again.
I
Okay.
tried actually. It
You can
opened
even
and
you can
closed very
even
fast.
simply change the URL to DL equals to 1, and that will be downloading that directly. So now click on the second link, please.
But I can see one application opening, one window opening, and then it closed very fast.
Okay.
I could not see it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't really matter. Do one thing. Can you open command prompt in that folder? I cannot show you because I'm using Mac over here, so I will not be able to run these exe files. That's why I'm asking you to execute it here. So, or let's see. Okay. Let me do one thing. Can you share your screen? Either of you, Srinivas, can you share your screen, please? That will be much quicker. I'll be able to explain directly. And I made you presenter. Please share your screen and can you give me the keyboard access, keyboard and mouse access, please? Can you give me keyboard and mouse access also?
Okay, okay. I given you access. Let me see. How can I give the keyboard and mouse access?
Go to this. You are using the web browser thing. Web browser may not have that option. Can you come
Okay.
to this? There is a small icon in the Chrome browser. Can you open it again? Click cancel here.
Yeah.
Click cancel here. And if you see in this, there is a record. No, no. Can you show me that please again? The Chrome window. Stop sharing. Sorry, start sharing your screen.
Yeah, I started.
No, it's not showing anything. Yeah. Now you see the below that there is one more. The above that. Switch to desktop version. Click that. Switch to desktop version. Yes. Switch. It is asking you to give this. Okay.
Yeah, it's asking.
Yeah. How about you, Kishore? Are you on desktop version?
Yeah.
Okay. Why can't you?
Okay, let me share the screen.
Yeah, let me make you presenter, please. First. Okay. Share the screen, and you know how to give keyboard and mouse access.
Uh, Access.
Now click on the go to meeting icon on the taskbar, please.
Okay.
Now you may be seeing a window on the right side of your computer
Uh-huh.
where you have clicked that show that play button show just beside that there is stop sharing, stop showing screen. Okay, tell me one thing. Are you seeing a screenshot?
A screenshot of one stop. Yeah, stop sharing screen. I can see that one.
You see this window, whatever I am showing on the screen.
No,
Okay, okay. And beside that there is give keyboard and mouse. Do you see that also?
no, that is not there.
Okay. Okay, let me show you something. Okay. Do you see this? Whatever I am showing. Go to meeting control panel.
Go to meeting control panel.
Now, whatever I am seeing on my screen, a screenshot I am
Uh-huh.
showing, right?
Yeah, no, I don't see that one.
Oh, okay. No, can you click on your go to meeting that's on your taskbar, please? You know, on your taskbar there is a go to meeting icon like this, right?
Uh, Taskbar. Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, if you click on that, how did you click? How did you show your screen, Kishore?
The moment you made me the presenter, a pop-up came.
Okay, and then okay, so that's how you are able to do it, is it? Uh, if I have not, if you have not accepted that, if you click on this icon like go to meeting taskbar, it
Mm-hmm.
will be showing you another thing.
Oh, okay. Let me try.
Yeah, Srinivas, I made you presenter. If you are using the desktop version now, you will be seeing the control panel, whatever I just showed.
I shared the keyboard and mouse with you. Uh,
Okay. Now, uh, okay. Where did you download that file? Okay. There is that's okay. Leave it. Any one single exe file is sufficient for me to demonstrate this. If you see, dir star.exe. Now, there are so many exe files over here, right? Let's say, for example, we are trying to run an exe file called VLC. Like, say, how do we run it? We'll say VLC and give that entire file name and then press enter, right? Of course, in Windows, if you are using, you will be double clicking that. We'll come to that. So when we run this, what happens? VLC should open. Let's see. Access is denied. Dummy application. Okay, use this dummy application. Okay, I don't know what this is. So let's make this start. Let's say iTunes setup.exe. Okay, now when I said iTunes setup.exe, what happened is it is able to execute this particular file. Okay, we don't really have to run this, but it's enough if you know that we are able to run this exe file. When we are in that folder, we are able to directly give that file name. Okay, so now what if you are not in that folder? Let's say what if we are over here? How do we execute that iTunes setup? If we give iTunes setup 64 setup.exe, we cannot run it because this particular downloads folder is in a different location than we are currently now. Okay, whenever we are executing a command, what happens is it checks in the current folder, and the same way, let me see calc.exe. Okay, okay. Seems what you have done is you have removed the all the path you have and only kept Java in your folder. Okay. Now, if you see over here, when I executed a command, how did you change your path, Srinivas?
I never changed my path.
When we have installed Java, sys- cp. Okay, that's why we are unable to run anything. Sysdm.cpl. So in the first session, when I've actually made you install and all, can you click on the advanced tab? You click on environment variables. Now, if you see, we have created an environment variable called Java Home. And now, if you come to the below system variables list and come down, there is a folder of variable called as path. Now, double click on it. Now, if you see whatever we have whatever folder paths we have, they will be so now if you see, I'm unable to execute the iTunes 64 setup.exe, but when I enter Java command, that is getting executed. Why? What is happening? What is happening is now just coming back to the command prompt, click cancel. Okay. So now when I enter Java, that is getting executed. That executable file is getting executed, but that Java is not there in this folder. But why that is working for Java and that is not working for iTunes helper is because the downloads folder, whatever that iTunes 64 setup is existing, that is not there in your path. Okay, that's not there in your system path, to be precise. So when I enter path, I will not find any folder over here that actually represents the folder that contains this iTunes 64. But if you see, there is Java over here. Okay, if you see program data, Java, Java path, Java home, and all that path you have over here. Okay, so that's why it is able to find the actual Java located in some other folder wherever you have installed that Java. But this downloads does not is not there, or not over there. So how do we actually do this? How do we fix this problem? What we can do is go to uh, can you open the downloads folder? Okay, come to that. Okay, now I can do it. Address bar. Now copy this. Can you click there, copy that entire address? Just
Okay.
scroll, drag with your mouse. Yeah, Control C,
Hmm.
and open your path. That means in that system, not in this, in your that environment variables. Yeah, double click over there. Yeah, edit. At the end of the path, semicolon, and then enter that path. Whatever, paste the path after semicolon. Okay.
Yeah, after semicolon.
I'll
Okay.
just press OK. Okay. Okay. Now open a new command prompt. Now, what you do is type iTunes 64 setup. It is just setup, copying setup. Yeah, just press enter. Okay, maybe we have given a wrong path. So just go above, we should be able to see that file name. Okay, there are two 64s in that. iTunes setup 64. Yeah, copy that iTunes 64 setup.exe. Come down around 10 lines. Come up around 10 lines. Yeah, copy that.
I'm able to copy that.
Now just type them. Enter. Now, if you see what happened, even though we are not in the downloads folder, when we executed that particular exe file name, we are able to access that file. Just click OK and click finish. So now, based on this, what is your observation?
So it will search in the directory wherever we are present and search all the directories that are present given in the path.
Exactly. That's what we use system variables are. That is why in our first session, in fact, if you remember, I made you add that Java home and all that in your path. Okay, and it seems Srinivas has accidentally removed everything else that is there in the system path. I'm not sure, that may have some side effects, Srinivas. You may not be able to run some programs directly from run command. So not a critical thing, but still it may be discomfort in some cases. So see, if you are facing some issues, try to see if fixing the path variable can fix it. Okay.
Yeah,
So now that's how even that's why when I type when you type enter Kishore in your command prompt, if you type MS Paint and press enter, you may be able to open Paint program. Okay, but Srinivas cannot do that because the path variable does not have a folder that contains the MS Paint exe file.
hmm
Okay, so this is the system path. Now, when it comes to Java, there is something called as class path. Okay, so what class path means? Class path means the place where the, so now it's just like a system path, but when we are executing Java command, it tries to execute or find all the classes that are required at something called as class path. Okay, where is the all where all the classes are located. So for Java, generally, that's it. I'll take over from here. Okay. So when we are actually giving -cp, what we are telling is the class path. When we are executing the Java file, the class path should be this jar file, or we can even give a specific folder where the jar is located. Okay, it's the same thing like path. Okay, it will I try to identify this class in this jar file. Okay, if we have not given a jar file, give a folder, it will search in that folder so that it will be finding this class file and be executing it. Okay, so in the system sense, when we say path, it will be like system overall in the system. Whenever it is executing some exe file, it tries to locate the exe file in all the folders listed in the path variable. In the same way, when we say class path, Java will actually try to identify all the classes, find all the classes in whatever paths we give. Even a jar file is also a path. Okay, jar file also acts like a folder. So it will be our Java will be able to find out all the classes inside a jar file. Now, when I actually execute that
So,
program, that's why when I say when I give -cp and when I said test.jar, it is able to execute it. In the same way, if I give Java command line arguments demo, what happened over here is because we have not given any -cp command, it is only considering the current folder as the class path. So it will be search for this dot class files in the current folder. Okay, so that's how we can actually execute use this class path variable to actually run a jar file or even a class file directly if we want. Okay, but this actually has a very interesting application, which is
Buddha, 1 minute. So, can we give more than one jar files in this command?
yes, we can
Java.
when we are using the class path, yes, we can give more than one jar file.
Okay,
Okay, but when
and
we are actually using hyphen jar,
mhm.
there may be only one jar. But again, if we want to, if you have some supporting jar files, you have to give -cp and give the rest of the jar files.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but if all the so main class will be present in all the jar files.
No, it need not have. It need not be. See,
Okay.
why do you want to run multiple jars if multiple things are will be executed? Do you ever want to execute iTunes 64 setup.exe and iTunes uninstall setup.exe uninstall.exe at the same time? No, right?
No.
Whenever when you are executing a specific program, there may be some purpose. Okay, what that purpose in this to actually run this main class. If you have some
Mhm.
other purpose like running the main class in specific jar file, only give that jar file and give that class file.
Okay.
Okay, so there can be times where you may actually have to give other jar files. That is, Say you have written some program and you have actually split that class files into multiple jar files. Imagine that.
Mm.
So
Okay.
some class files will be in one jar, some class files in will be in another jar. In that case, a main class will be in one jar. So in that case, what
Okay.
to do? You can actually give the hyphen cp and give all the jars that will be your entire uh, code, entire program, and give one main file so that it will be searched in one of the jar file and that will be executed. That main file
Yeah.
doesn't have to be there in every jar file.
Okay. Got you, Buddha.
Okay. So this is how we can actually create a jar file and run a jar file. Okay. So now a small checkpoint. I actually want you guys to create a jar file of your project and make the main class or whatever class you have as the entry point. Can you do that now? If you have access to Eclipse, it should take a couple of minutes max. So try it. So if you want the command, I gave you the command. I listed the command over here. Are you able to create any luck?
Buddha, for me, it's saying that jar is not recognized as an internal or external command.
Okay, which means you don't have the Java in your system path. It's the problem with your path variable, Srinivas.
Okay.
So, what I want you to do is mm, now share your screen. There are some issues with your installation actually. I could recognize that when I saw your path variable. Let's fix them. Open that type sysdm.cpl. Yeah, enter. Press enter. Now go to advanced environment variables and Java home. Is that the place where your Java is located? First check that. You copied that path, right? Just paste that path in the address bar. It will go directly. No, it is downloads folder. You didn't copy this. Yeah. Okay. So you have this particular path. Now
Right.
close this and open the environment variables again. Uh, Click OK or cancel, and do one thing. Create a new variable with the same name in the Java. Okay. You do have another Java home. If you see, if you come up in the system variables, you have another Java home, which is Java, which is having JDK 1.8. Okay. Do one thing. Delete the Java home inside that in that top parent. In the not this, not this, not this. Wait. In the
This
user
one?
variables. Yes. Delete this. Okay. Now, if you come down, open your path variable. Double click your path variable. You already have no path variable. This is Java
Okay.
home variable. The path variable is path. Okay. Now, if you see the first one, you can remove actually the dollar Java home slash Java underscore slash bin or something like that. That is later on, right? In fact, you can remove everything else because you have only Java related ones here. You don't really need all of those. You
Okay.
are you are actually supposed to have other folders also, like some Windows related folders and all. Somehow you might have accidentally delete all of those. Okay, so click
Okay.
OK.
Should I remove any of these or should I click OK?
Doesn't matter. Anything is same.
Okay.
Okay, press OK. Open a fresh command prompt. Now type Java hyphen jar. Sorry, type jar. Okay. Now try.
Okay.
Now Kishore, what's going on with you?
Yeah, I'm creating a project.
No, you already have some projects, right? In your Eclipse.
Yeah, yeah.
You simply use that. You don't have to create a project. I think if you have changed the path variable, you have to reopen the Eclipse if you want to have that latest ones. Otherwise, it will not recognize change in the environment variables.
I did
Have
not
you
change any
created any
environment.
project so far, Kishore?
Yeah, yeah, I created.
First you have to go to a place where all these files are located. If you see it, it is
Yes,
there
yes.
in this, yes, and go there, and then now type dir. You will not have class files here also. No, type dir first. Okay. Now the class files will be in bin folder. Okay, you have actually created package structures, right? So you cannot simply give collections.class switchbias.class. You have to give the path, entire paths. So where is the
Okay.
collections.class located? In inside main package.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so you have to give main slash collections.class. Like in the same way, switch pairs wherever it is. So you have to give that folder structure properly. Okay, space. Here, wait, first where is main collections dot class?
Main, in main.
So you have to give, when you are giving entry point, you have to give main dot collections. No, you have to remove the collections.
Okay,
Now give main dot collections.
okay,
And now next we have to give the files that are to be part. So for files we give slashes, right? So give main
right,
slash
right.
collections dot class in space, and wherever is switch space, just type tab, you can get it. Okay, press enter. Where is switch pairs? Open your
Okay,
Eclipse.
no, actually, I typed it wrongly. Instead of switch space, I
Okay.
typed switch space.
Yeah, always use tabs so that they will save some time for you. Just press up arrow now. Okay, now type dir. You should see a new jar file over there.
Right, right.
Okay. Now, what I want you to do is run the second command. I am not showing that second command, so make present myself and my screen. Now, second command is there.
Right.
Okay, the class is getting executed.
Yes, the class is getting executed.
Okay. Now, if you want to run any class other than the entry point, you have to use java-cp and then give the jar file and to the class file. If that class file has main method, it will be good. Otherwise, it says could not load main method from the class or something like that.
Right, right.
Okay. Now, Kishore, what's going on with you?
Yeah, yeah, 1 minute. I'm giving that command jar cfe
Mhm.
cf test dot jar, and then I should give one class.
Show me your screen. What's going on? The jar command I've been showing on my screen so far. Okay. After this, you have to give the class name that has a main method.
Class name that has a main method. Okay.
First, does this folder contain the class files? First type dir.
Okay.
No, it doesn't have any class files, right? So the same issue, whatever Srinivas said earlier. So you have to go to a folder where the class files are located.
But in path we have given, right?
No, in path we have not given the folder where class files are located. What did we give
Okay.
in path? The location where the exe file of Java is located.
Okay. Uh, so how should I go there?
No, first find out where your project is. Where did you create your project in Eclipse?
Uh, uh, okay, where I created my project. Okay, fine. Users.kishore.workspace.
Yeah, go to that place.
Okay, users Kishore workspace. Kishore workspace. So CD workspace, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now should I do dir?
Yeah, do dir. And go to a project called assign jar.
Assign jar. Okay.
You created that project, right?
Yeah.
Just tab, na? It will.
Okay.
Now type dir every Eclipse project, whatever you create, that is created over here, and all the source files will be in src folder. Class files, compiled class files will be in bin folder. So go to bin folder.
Now I'm pressing tab. Now it is coming space. It's not allowing me.
No, you have to type at least one letter for it to recognize what it has to show. Okay, press enter. Now type dir.
dir.
Mhm. Now you have these main classes, right? Now enter that
Yeah.
jar command, whatever I have been showing you earlier. You don't see that command, let me copy paste that command to you in the chart.
Okay.
So that is an example where we don't give any entry point. And if you want an example where we give entry point, that would be this. So the second one. Now use that commands. You got the chart?
Yeah. 1 minute. Yeah. Jar cf cf and this
No,
is the test.
this no.
What I'm
Use the second command. Use the second command. CFE where we use the entry point. E means entry point.
okay. Cfe and this is a jar name. What I'm going to create.
Yes.
Test j dot jar
Okay. And then
and
which
then
class file you want to run when we execute the jar? What is there
okay.
in print.class?
Nothing is there. Test main it is there.
Okay.
Test
Okay.
main dot
Don't give class because when we are executing Java command, we will not be giving dot class extension, right? We will simply be giving the class file, class name. Okay. Space.
okay.
Give the class file names along with the dot class extension.
Uh, I did not get Buddha. This is class file name, right?
No, that is not class file name. What you have given there is class name.
Yes, class name. Yes.
Okay, now what all class files should be part of that jar, you have to give those class files.
Okay.
Print.class, testment. If you see my command, whatever I've given you in the chart, you should be able to understand that. I'm giving you,
Okay.
first I've given you the name of the class first. Okay, the testament is the name of the
Hmm.
class. It's not the name of the file.
Okay.
Okay, and then you have to tell which class files have to be part of the jar file. So you have to give print.class, testament.class.
Okay. Okay. And then enter.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now how do you execute it? So to execute it, two ways. One,
Uh-huh.
when you have already given the entry point, you can
Hmm.
simply type java hyphen jar
Java hyphen jar.
space hyphen jar space.
Enter.
No, no, which jar file? Test j.
Okay. Test main.
No, jar file name.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Test j whatever I created in the above.
Yes.
Okay.
Now you have to enter that extension.
Hmm. Oh, okay. Got it.
So whenever you have to give a file name, you have to enter extensions. Whenever you
Mm-hmm.
have to give a class file name, you don't have to class name. You don't have to give the extension.
Okay.
Okay, so now you created a jar file and executed that jar file. Now, if you have to actually you run some other class file, you have to, instead of using hyphen jar, you have to use hyphen cp,
Mm-hmm.
and then you simply can
All the jar file names.
give the jar file name, and then give the class file that you want to execute. Okay, so type java hyphen cp testage.j.jar and space give print, enter. Okay, because print does not have a main method, it is throwing an exception. If you give test
Yeah.
main, it will be executing that.
Yes.
Okay, so this is how we can actually run a specific class file and so this is how we will be able to run a class file that is located in a jar file. There is actually a reason as to why I made you create a specific the jar file. Okay, the reason being we can actually make use of the jar files in a special way. Okay, that is okay. Now let me take over the screen. In fact, to actually create these jar files, there is actually a very simple method which I haven't shown you so far. That is, we can actually open the Eclipse. We can actually. Sorry. Okay. Now, if I wanted to create a jar file of an Eclipse project, all I have to do is right click on that project and click export, and in this list you can type jar, then it will be showing you some things. And there are two things, right? When we are giving entry point and when we are not giving entry point. So this is when we are giving entry point. So if you select this runnable jar file, click next, and it is telling wait what is the name of jar file and what class should be used. And that is I'm using Smaguru Saffron batch 1 is the class file that I'm using. And then when I click finish, it will be creating a jar file that I can directly make use of. So it created a jar file called untitled.jar in my on my desktop. Okay, so this is a jar file that I created using Eclipse. Okay, why did I actually make you create without using Eclipse first? Because for you to know understand what is happening behind the screens. Okay, so that's about how we can create jar files. Then what is the purpose of creating jar files is to share the code or say share the executable classes with the people who are supposed to use them. Now, what I want you to do is, so for example, whatever jar file we created, if you see, this class file doesn't have any project. Now let me open some. Let's say I have a class, some dummy class, and it has main. Okay, here, let's say I want to use the command line orgs demo that I have created over here in my trash folder. I have the command logs demo dot class or Java. Now, how do I use it? When I say command line, I'll not be getting it, right? I'll not be getting it. So now, how can I actually use that method? I can use that method actually by making sure that this project's class path has that jar file. If you remember how we are executing that command java-cp, right? And we're telling that okay, this jar contains this particular class file. So we can do the same thing even in Eclipse. So now how can we do that is right click on this project, go to build path, configure build path, and then in the libraries tab over here there is source projects and libraries tab. Over here we can click add actionable jars and go to the trash folder. There is this my jar.jar. Now if I select this jar and click open, that will be listed over here. And now let me click it. Now what exactly I did over here? Now in the referenced libraries I'll see my jar also in the class path for this particular project. Now if I type, does this jar contain command line alt demo.class? Yes it does. It is public class. It is command line alt demo class. Refresh. Org command line org demo is there. But why am I not able to use it? Is this not private? Sorry, public. It is public. Jars and classes. Okay, I must have created this with an entry point, so these are not visible. Let me remove this build path, remove from build path. Let me regenerate the jar file. I must have done something. Now here, when I'm creating a jar file again, I'm not going to give the entry point. Now another jar, the same jar file is created again. Now I'm adding that to the build path. Add actionable jars. Okay. Now I have these command line ops demo. So what's going on? Why am I not getting this command line ops demo? Okay, let me create a new project. There must be something wrong with this particular project. I'll show that. Let me create a new Java project. Next. And even while creating the project, we can give the jar files and all. Now this is user slash github slash trash, and there is this command line. Why are these not coming? Okay, there must be some issue with the jar file that got created when I'm creating in command line. As I showed you, we can also create the same jar files by using Eclipse also. I just created an export and then given selected a jar file and then went to next and then selected that project whatever I want to create and then given the jar file name, what is the name of the jar file that I want to create, and then click finish. That actually created a jar file. Then what I did is I created a new project, and in that, in the build path, I actually clicked configure build path and went into the libraries tab and clicked add external jars. This actually let me select the jar file whatever I want to use in the class path for this particular project. So when I added this, I will be getting all the class files that I've created over here. Now if you see, there is something called as concurrent runner.java in org.pub.prep.demo1 package, and this package has this concurrent runner. Now because now I'm creating a new class file over here. Now in my dummy project, now if you see, I have this concurrent runner. Why did I have that concurrent runner? Even though don't have that particular source file over here, but because I'm adding that as in a reference library, I'll be able to directly use that particular project over here itself. Concurrent runner. Now I'm simply calling that particular class files main method. So now when I run this program as a Java application, I will be able to get some output whatever is I've coded in this concurrent. Don't worry about what is the output, but what you have to understand by this is when we have exported a jar file like how we just did, we will be able to add that jar file to our class to our project and directly use the classes that are available in that particular jar file. Okay, so did you guys understand the concept over here?
Yes, Buddha.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's just like adding the dependencies, getting the dependencies. So what is that we have to learn from this is there will be many. So as I was telling, we can simply export and select a jar file so that we'll be able to create a jar file. We can give a main class if you want. If you select a runnable jar, or even without selecting runnable jar, also we can select by giving the main class. The jar file will be created at the location that we mentioned. And then in the class path, we can add those jar files in the class path for our specific projects by right clicking on our project and going to build path and configure build path. And by doing that, we will be able to actually add that jar file to the class path for our specific project. Okay, so whatever I've displayed is actually being shown in that in that screenshot over there. Okay. So uh, uh, actually what you have to learn from this is there will be many jar files that are already available that we can directly make use of without having to write the code. If you remember, I made you write a method. I'm not sure if you wrote or not, but I one of the exercises is generating a random string. Okay. We already have some libraries available for them. So for example, there are something called as commons.apache, which has a lot of classes which has written a lot of classes, and they have uploaded all their classes as jar files. Okay, which actually help us reuse. In fact, the license allows us to use them in any project that we want, even in commercial environment. So there is something called as Apache Commons lang. And let's go to there is Apache Commons lang, and in this, if we go over here, it is one library, one jar file that we can simply download. So it says download 3.4, and also we can mention that we want to download this zip file. So now what I'm doing is, so far I've created a jar file in my own machine in my own project. But as I said, other people would have already created some code that you already need. Okay, so this particular generates a random string. So now if I open this, there is a jar file called commonslang3.4.jar and commonslang3 java.jar. So now the important thing is this 3.4 jar. Let me show you what is that, what happens when I do that. When I go to build path and configure build path, I'm adding an external jar which is on my desktop, commons lang 3.4. I'm selecting this 3.4 dot jar, it pressing OK. Now when I do that, what happens is in my reference libraries a new jar file also is added. Okay, now it has so many packages and it has so many classes. Okay, you don't really you can imagine how much functionality they've already built over here. Let's say there is a class called random string utils. Now if you see, the package for this random string utils is org.apache.commons.lang3. When we don't have this, let's say I have deleted that from class file. Now if I say random, I will not be getting all those things, so I only have these three. Now let us add that particular jar file in our yes, okay. Now if I say type random, I have more. Now if you see, I have this random utils, I have this random string utils. Okay, these both of these are coming from org.apache commons lang library. Okay, so now random string utils are equals to new random string utils and r dot random int say 10. I want to print this. Now when I run this program, I'll be getting some random 10 letters. Okay, because it is generating the entire character set, we don't want all that. Let's say random alphabetic. Now this only generates from A to Z. Now if you see, it has generated a random alphabetic string. Now if we have to write the same code, you will be able to write. But the point of learning what these jar files and libraries are is that you can always figure out some code that is already written. Okay, Apache Commons is a very popular library. It has written code for so many of these problems. Let's say CSV files, database helpers, and for even sending emails and all, there are some files written over there. And also some things that we have not actually seen, but you will be seeing many of these things, especially when we go forward and learn all the web development related concepts. Okay, and so for now what you have to do understand is even for compression and all, so lot of things are available that are ready made. We can simply download and use those jar files. Using the jar files is simply this. Okay, so now as you have understood, as you have seen the concept of using external jar files, finding the libraries, what I want you to do for before we meet tomorrow is there is something called as Guava libraries. Okay, so in that Guava libraries, there is a method called repeat in a class called strings. Okay, I want you to find out what that class does, okay, or what that method does. I want you to write a program using that particular thing. Find out what are Guava libraries, where you can download that jar file, and adding it to the class path, and making sure that you write a small class actually that is actually making use of that repeat method. Okay, so try to do this by tomorrow, and uh, please do the exercise. Otherwise, future concepts you will not be able to understand. That is for sure. I can guarantee that. Okay. So in fact, already you things might have become difficult, and they will be getting even more difficult if you don't do the exercise, especially you, Kishore. Right? So try to make some time. Otherwise, there is no point in uh, paying me for the training.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Buddha, I will do.
Okay, so try to do it at least during weekends. In fact, we got around 4 days of cap earlier, so we could have done it. So, anyways, I'll leave that for you guys to make that judgment call. So try to do this by tomorrow, and see if you are able to get this particular thing done. Okay. So if you are unable to do that exercise because you are not understanding some concept, tell me. I'm okay with going slow. Okay, I don't want to just finish it. If you need some explanation on something, if you are stuck on something, ask me. It's okay rather than me just finishing all the topics and then you ending up being in the same position where you are in the beginning. That doesn't help you or give satisfaction to me either. Okay. So try to do the exercise. If you are stuck, ask me so that I will help you so that you can go forward. If you want me to repeat some topic, tell me. I'll do that. Okay, so that's all I can say. And try to do this. Do you have any questions before we stop this session? Okay. So as usually, I'll be uploading this.